All right, so I got some questions about Norris Lake. I'm here with Phillip Boshears, and of course I'm Tracy, and we're talking about the water levels and what a challenge that can be on Norris Lake in the springtime.
It's really difficult, especially this time of year. February, March, we start to get a lot of those rains, and it'll come up several feet in 2 days. And anybody with docks or these poor marinas, they're fighting water levels hourly.
Constantly. Yeah. I know some of those docks I think are having to be moved more than one time a day when it's going up and down so fast.
Definitely.
So we've seen, years ago, it didn't seem like they dammed up as quickly. But now you're going to be at, we were just talking about this before we started, but you're going to be at full pool when the trees start budding out, in the springtime.
Yeah.
Usually by Memorial Day.
Yeah, usually, by Memorial Day we are at full pool, if not more. I think the last couple of years we've been, as the quote, season starts, we've been at above full pool, 1021 plus.
Yeah.
And they've done real good even in the season of keeping it there or right at summer pool.
Even though the TVA will be quick to tell you when you complain about water levels that the lake is used for flood control, power, hydroelectric power, killing the nuclear plants, and then its recreation is pretty far down on that list, even though for us it's
number one.
Yeah. Keeping that lake full. And also, I have always heard that when the willow trees are budding out, the fish are biting. What have you heard? You've never heard that?
I've never heard that before in my life. If the cows are laying down and you're on your way fishing, you best just go back to the house. If you're standing up eating, head on to the lake.
I like it. Anything else?
The moon's full. It's called a walleye moon if you're going to night fish.
There you go. And we've had a big full moon lately. So that's a little bit of Norris Lake for us. Okay, the other thing is about season. We used to always say we had a 10-week season, Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Yeah.
But we are seeing that expand in the Airbnb and VRBO business because it's almost become year-round because of the Ride Royal Blue and all the trails, Tackett Creek.
Yeah, a lot of people, they started coming earlier in the season. Like right now, I know people are coming to the lake and the mountains, of course, now here in March. But really, it'll pick up in April. So April through October, even into November, if the weather's decent, you'll have people on the water.
Yeah. One of the things that I hate about the springtime and the water levels fluctuating is the floating debris.
Yeah, it's kind of dangerous, especially if you're not familiar with the lake where you're going. But even if you are, you got to watch. You'll find whole trees, tires, wheels, anything floating. And this time of year, there's not a lot of people in the water, so try to make sure you have cell service or something to get a hold of somebody, because that's all it takes. One good lick and you're dead in the water.
The ferry, there's a Union County ferry that runs across, and a lot of times in spring it can't even run.
Yeah, they get a lot more debris up there
because it's
water's running in. So they get a lot
more than the bigger areas on the water. One of the other things, even though you're paying attention, sometimes those logs are the exact same color as the water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you really can't see it
till it's too late.
Whack. Yeah. One other thing about Norris Lake, it's almost, because it is a tributary lake and it's different creeks.
Mm-hmm.
Locals are going to call it Big Creek, Cedar Creek,
Cove Creek,
Powell River,
Cuckle Creek,
yeah, another one. Each area is different, and people will ask me, what's the best part of the lake? But they're all good for different things.
They are. The best part of the lake is the lake as a whole for me,
right?
Because
or wherever you are,
you are that day.
Kind of love the one you with.
But they more populated part of the lake. There's going to be more traffic, and usually in those areas, there's going to be more marinas that are closer together, more things to do. If you want to just find a more quiet inn, there are those places where you can go float, swim,
right,
do whatever.
There's a lot of places that, if you look on the map, you'll see, especially the map that we all kind of are familiar with, green areas that's Chuck Swan, the
public land.
Yeah.
Isn't developed, that's for recreation.
And when you're around there, you're not going to have the private docks. You're going to be able to do a little bit more. What about that jumping bridge? That is the bridge that everybody, when we were kids, it was a metal front, or you're my kid's age, but when I was a kid, it was a metal frame bridge that people would jump off the top of, which was crazy stupid. And now, it's a concrete bridge. It's still the big draw. You can go on YouTube and find videos. You can go on Facebook and see pictures. And, it's mostly people from out of town jumping off that bridge.
Yeah. And even if somebody hasn't been to Norris Lake, they've at least heard of the jumping bridge. Mm-hmm. It's sort of an icon.
Yeah. So that's one area of the lake, and that's really near Shanghai, Sugar Hollow,
Deerfield,
Springs. And Springs. So you have all of that. And then down on the lower end, you have Twin Cove, which is beautiful.
It is. It's, there's still quite a few houses once you get on up in Cove Creek.
Yes.
And I don't think a lot of people on the northern side of the lake really think about that.
No, most people think the water stops at Twin Cove.
Yeah.
But if you're facing Twin Cove and you go to the right, there's a whole creek with Airbnbs and homes and neighborhoods back there. And it's not very populated. And there's also a railroad trestle that's really pretty if you go back through there. So talking about marinas, Twin Cove, they have always been super popular for their food. Their location can't be beaten. They're practically on 75.
Yeah, really.
They're right off the exit. They have condos. They have more of a resort feel. And they have a full-service restaurant. They have great hours in the summer. Yeah. Lots of parking.
They've usually got things going on, too, during the summer. Even in the middle of the week, they've got stuff that they do.
Typically, they've had Thirsty Thursday. I don't know if they're still doing that, but they've done that. And then Mountain Lake just got a whole new kitchen. I did not eat there last year, which it was on my list to do. I did not eat there, but they're in a great spot on the water. And they're in one of those spots where there's not a lot around. You don't have tons of traffic. Yeah. It's a really good location. And I know a lot of kids in my family like to go there for ice cream, but I think they've got almost the same or a pared down menu from Twin Cove because there's common ownership there. Yeah. So they have almost the same food. And then coming on up the lake, what would be your next one? Oh, yeah. Norris Lake. Yeah. So they're right there in a great spot. I get nervous driving the boat around the dam, and I know it's not going to be sucked over or sucked in, but it's kind of like quicksand. I don't know how close I want to get to it, but it's a great open spot, great views. That rock wall is beautiful.
It is a really pretty spot.
That's a beautiful spot. And then coming on up Big Creek, you have Whitman Hollow, which if you know Froggy's, that's the restaurant there. And they're in a great spot, too, on the water. They've got a really long wake zone if it's hot, but it's worth it. They've got a great restaurant, and they usually have music, bands, a lot going on there.
Usually all weekend.
Yeah, they do. You're right. And they've got a lot of floating homes. Do they rent those?
A lot of them are rentals.
Yeah. Are they? Okay. And then coming on up to Indian River, excuse me, of course, we have Swing Wednesday there. So I'm familiar with that marina. You're familiar with that marina.
Yeah. I managed it for about 5 seasons. So
you know a lot about that one. But that's so convenient. Besides Twin Cove, probably one of the most convenient into Highway 63 and 25W there. It's just you turn at Walgreens, CVS, they're on that corner, and go back to the marina. They've got a great restaurant. They have a lot of activity. They have bands and music on the weekends. And then, of course, Wednesday, they have Wing Wednesday. And then going on up the lake, let's see, what would be the next one?
Go back out of Big Creek, you'll be at Sequoia.
And they've done Corona and Wings. I think they still do that on Friday nights.
It's been a staple for years.
Yes, that was the go-to for Friday night. And then pretty easy to get in and out of. Yeah. And it's right there on that main channel. So a great, recently changed hands, but still a great place to go. And then coming on up, Stardust
Mhm.
is everybody's favorite. I mean, they've got that
The bang bang
bang
shrimp.
that everybody loves. The restaurant's great.
Yeah.
It's a good atmosphere. Coming back up, what would be the next one? Would it be Shanghai?
Come back, to the forks of the river and head on up. It'll be Shanghai.
Was
We'll
it
go
the
past-
Pal?
Yeah.
Or the no, that's Pal. I'm trying to think.
Yeah. We're on the Pal, that's the clinch.
Okay. Well,
Right.
let's just look. It's on the corner of the Pal and the clinch. It's not on that one. I thought I had a
It's on
map
one of
here.
the paper ones.
Yeah.
I'm 99%.
Well, we're gonna
sure.
look and make sure.
Yeah, we're the Pal because the reason I remember that the Pal River is further away from Pal.
Oh, okay.
That's
So going on up the Pal, Shanghai, which they are so famous for their drinks, for their pizza, for their food in general. They've got a really good store.
Mhm.
If you're looking
They do.
to buy any kind of souvenir, Shanghai's awesome for that.
Yeah.
And then after Shanghai, it would be Springs.
You've got Cedar Creek, Sugar Hollow,
Sugar Hollow. Gosh, yes, I don't forget that.
Pirate Ship
The
Bar.
Pirate Ship Bar. Just a great location right by the jumping bridge. And really easy to get in and out of.
Yeah, it is easy.
You can tell I'm not a really good boater, so I rate my marinas based on how hard it is to get in there. So coming back around, what would be next?
Then you've got Deerfield and Springs.
Deerfield and Springs, so the Tiki Bar.
Mm-hmm.
And the Tiki Bar is one of those places that you get there and there's a guy blowing bubbles and playing music and kids everywhere. And then in a few hours, the complexion changes a little bit and it's a little bit different. It's a little bit more of a marina club kind of thing, but it's still a place you could go and really have a good time.
Yeah.
And then on around you got Springs
Mm-hmm.
and they've got soft serve ice cream.
Yep.
And the Galley Burger that they're famous
This
for.
was really good.
Yeah. And then after that, you got Flat Hollow.
Mm-hmm. Little trek, but yeah.
Yeah, Flat Hollow. The food is awesome. Really unique menu. Really good. And they've just added slips and they've added some floating homes. So
It's nice.
Yeah,
I
super.
know they were one of the few that actually had
slips available to
over the
rent.
last year or so.
and then Powell Valley.
That one's just went through a major
Overhaul. The food is delicious and it's a really nice space. They've got a great store. It's not as big as Shanghai, but they've got some stuff to buy there and the food is delicious. So that's the part of the lake that I know.
Yeah.
If you get past Flat Hollow and we know the homes on
Yeah.
but really that's the area that we stay in. We've covered the lake. We've been just about everywhere
Yeah.
on the lake.
We have.
So in thinking about Norris Lake, we used to say that it was mostly people from Ohio, but that have come here.
Mhm.
Sort of a lot of people out migrated from here to go to Ohio, Dayton, Cincinnati for jobs, and then they've come back over the years and introduced it to their neighbors and their family and their friends, and that's how Norris Lake's been so popular. But we have more and more people coming from everywhere.
Everywhere. I mean, out west. It's not just, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan. I mean, we're getting,
Arizona,
New York.
yeah.
Had a lot of people come up from Florida last year.
In Georgia, yeah.
Yeah.
Now we've really seen it change.
Even vacationers, in my Airbnbs, I've had people from Texas come up here. Like, how do you find Norris Lake from Texas?
I mean, I know they take 75 or they take 40 over to 75, but it's still, how did you pick this place?
Yeah.
How did you do it? Talking about Airbnbs, what do you think is the biggest shock to people, or is there a shock once they come if they haven't been here before?
Just how big the lake is. 809 miles of shoreline. And that is a lot to take in. Most people, who have lived here their whole lives haven't seen all of the lake. And
Right.
then, a lot of these places where they come from, they have lakes, but they're not as deep as
Or they're
ours.
just like a bathtub.
Yeah.
You can see over there and see over here. You can
Yeah.
see all the edge. But I think I think you're right. I think that's probably what I've seen. One thing that I've seen is that people typically are shocked that you go through such a rural Appalachian
Mm-hmm.
area to get to $1 million house, or you have such a difference in where people are traveling, to, and some of the roads are shocking,
Mm-hmm.
especially if they're going out really far. But most people are pleasantly surprised. It's what they expected and hoped for, and more.
And more.
If people are looking to buy real estate on the lake, what do you think the biggest things that they need to know, at the beginning of their search that they should know?
Well, if they're wanting to be in a lake community, or if they want to be lakefront, that's something to consider. And what community, what areas they want to be in, how far away from town, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
or how far away from I-75 do they want to be?
Also, do you want to be in a community that allows rentals?
Mm-hmm.
Because some people are adamant that they don't. Other people are like, well, we might rent it. We don't know. And so knowing that before, deciding that or knowing that before, and also understanding that we use terms like 1020, 1040, meaning
Mm-hmm.
elevation for land rights, shoreline rights,
Mm-hmm.
and people aren't really used to that. So some just vocabulary and some of the common phrases might help to know.
And so, another thing, like if you're just looking for land, or if you're looking for a home, if you're looking for land and plan to build, some of the communities have design requirements
Mhm.
and boards
that's
that you
good.
have to go to. So, but the community may not
yes.
allow that. So,
Yeah, that's a really
something
good
to
point.
think about.
That's a really good point. And dock maintenance is something else that you really got to think about.
Yeah, if you're not going to be here full time, or don't want to, or are not able to manage your dock, there are several companies here on the lake that do that for you.
Right.
And from a dock owner, it's worth the money.
You manage your own dock.
Just pay somebody. I did one season. After that, never again.
For some reason. One thing everybody loves talking about are the wake boats. And I don't know that there's been anything else that's been so much discussed
Mm-hmm.
as the wake boats on the lake. Is it because literally of the wake boats, or is it because of the surfing where you lower the boat? And I don't obviously surf. It's not my deal. In my little pontoon with what have I got, a 75
50, I think.
50 Honda motor. But I don't see the problem with it, but then again, I don't know what everybody's complaining about. But do you think it's the surfing?
Probably, it is. And it's the few that give the many the bad rap, because some people
Just like
are
realtors.
not. Yeah, just like realtors. Some people aren't courteous. They get too close to docks. They get too close to other
Well,
boats.
when everybody was fussing about the jet skis, it was the same thing.
Yeah.
The jet skis cutting between the boats, or kids on the jet skis cutting between the boats, and making it difficult.